Hello, this is Bill Stevens along with the other roving reporter, Steve Matchett. Once again, we are at the Apex Collection. We've been here before and I have goosebumps already. How about you?
It's fantastic to be here, Bill, isn't it? I've been around exotic machinery and beautiful restoration of vehicles all my life. But every time we're invited back to the Apex Collection, we take it to a whole other level.
Wait until you see the cars we're going to be showing you today. Over 80 cars from the Apex Collection coming to Mecum Kissimmee in January of 2026. Corvettes, Shelbys, Mopars, and some very special cars we'll talk about later on. Now, there are a couple of things that drive the value of any collection. One is collectability, the other is condition. Collectability, some of these cars are very rare, very low mileage, some of them are just one-offs, and that's what drives collectability. What about condition?
Well, condition is paramount, of course, and the guys and gals at Apex understand restoration to a T, and also, which is critical, they also understand when something has originality and we can leave it, leave it. These guys and gals get it.
One more thing to do, and that is make a little magic. Let's go. Well, the Apex Collection has a bunch of Camaros coming to Kissimmee in January, and if memory serves, you're a former Camaro owner, aren't you?
Indeed I am, Bill, and I had a car very similar to this, 1969, big block, 396, and boy oh boy, the first time I opened the throttle pedal on that car, it was a mind-altering experience. But Bill, you know far more about the specifications of this car than I do. Tell me about this one.
I can almost guarantee you that your 1969 Camaro 396 didn't have the exact same engine as this one. This is the L89 option, aluminum cylinder heads on the 375 horsepower L78 396. Doesn't add more factory rated horsepower, although in reality, yeah, there's more in there, but it does reduce the weight of the front end of the car by about 75 pounds. Azure turquoise metallic, you can see the interior's black with a matching black vinyl top. And one other thing, that is a matching numbers drivetrain, by the way, according to Jerry McNeish, the Camaro expert. Now, when I say Cobo Camaro, what year Camaro do you think of?
Well, it'd be a first generation, the central office production order, correct?
Yes. Well, this 1969 Camaro is not a Copo, but we've got a 1970 Camaro. That is, it's a Z28, and it has the Copo spoiler. What is that? Well, a lot of people think that when you talk about racing Camaros, you're talking about the quarter mile.
Right.
But Chevy wanted to take the 70 Z28 to the racetrack, specifically the Trans Am series, so they had a special spoiler on the Copo 1970 Camaro, and this one has it. We've got a couple of Camaro pace cars. We've got more big block Camaros. It is a painter's palette of Camaros coming to Kissimmee in January. And the Apex Parade continues with this, a Winged Warrior, 1970 Plymouth Superbird. Now, we've seen Superbirds from the Apex Collection before, and they are all outstanding. This one, with that 440 six-barrel setup, 3 two-barrel carburetors, 390 horsepower, numbers matching drivetrain, including that 4-speed transmission, and Steve is a former Formula One mechanic. You look at this car, and you see things that remind you of the importance of aerodynamics.
Aero is king in racing. Aero has always been king. And when you look around this car, it's easy to be dismissive and think, well, the changes, they're just for aesthetics, they look kind of cool. No, they work. What the engineers were trying to do then was reduce the frontal area at the front to help with removing drag off the car, and the profile of the rear wing really was creating a little bit of downforce. So all in all, the aero on the car was working very well. I'm very impressed with the engineering of the car.
Yep, 200 miles an hour. In fact, Chrysler called in some of their aerospace engineers to design the aero on the Superbird, and yeah, this was a package that was very dominant. But it's not the only V-code car in the Apex Collection coming to Kissimmee. Got a 1970 Dodge Challenger with that 390 horsepower 440, and not to mention a 1969 Dodge Super Bee. And we've got a Mighty Mouse, a 1970 Challenger TA with the 340 with that 6-pack induction system. So it's Mopars everywhere you look, and well, each one of them a performance milestone.
Well, Bill, moving along at the Apex collection, how about this era, the late 1960s, early 1970s? My understanding as a young apprentice on the opposite side of the Atlantic, this was the height of the muscle car era, wasn't it? Where the manufacturers, Oldsmobile, Chevrolet, and others were putting maximum horsepower into their cars, drag racing at its peak, and I know that this is your speciality.
You probably could hear the noise way over there we were making.
Yes, we could.
Oh, I'll tell you, Detroit was turning out some firepower. For instance, this 1971 Oldsmobile 442 W30, the W30, that is the operative nomenclature here. This was the highest performance Oldsmobile you could buy in 1971. This is one of only 32 four-speed convertible W30s that were built, 350 horsepower. You see the beautiful restoration, just outstanding, gold paint, black interior, and the color-matched super stock wheels. But here, this was the pace setter in muscle in 1970, the LS6 Chevelle SS454. This one has the turbo automatic. Of course, you could get a four-speed as well. Also, it's numbers matching, painstaking restoration, 410 positive traction gears, and let's top everything off with the Buick 455 Stage 1, 360 horsepower, another gunboat from General Motors, and those three cars definitely ruled the boulevards in America back in the early 1970s.
Well, moving along in the consignment, three cars from 1953 from the Motorama event, which was an event to celebrate General Motors at its finest. I love these three cars, Oldsmobile, Cadillac, and Buick. The front-end treatments alone are just staggering. Bill, what do you like about it?
Oh, what's not to like? Remember, 1953 Motorama at the Waldorf Astoria Hotel in New York was a kind of like a showcase for Harley Earl, the design genius at General Motors. They also debuted the Corvette, its first public showing at that Motorama. But we had the Oldsmobile Fiesta, the Buick Skylark, and the Cadillac Eldorado. Interesting, these cars went into production pretty much the way they look, but they didn't sell very well. They were too expensive. The Buick outsold the other two because that was probably the one that had the most visual appeal. But looking at these cars takes us back to a time period when General Motors was calling the tune in automotive design.
Well, Bill, we're standing amid a beautiful collection of first-generation Thunderbirds. Where to begin? Is it the trim level? Is it the beautiful coloration? Is it the specification of the engineering? Where do we start?
All of the above. It's pretty easy to get excited when you see three of these baby birds all in a row. Pastel blue down there. You got the signature color, the coral in this one. Both of those cars with those beautiful Kelsey Hayes wire wheels. But this one, maybe we're saving the best for last. This is the 1957 Thunderbird E-Code. That means it's got the 312 cubic inch V8 with two 4-barrel carburetors, 270 horsepower. Big time collector's item. And by the way, the only thing missing is Suzanne Summers. Hashtag American Graffiti. Stephen, if I remember correctly, you mentioned the importance of restorations cars in the Apex collection. What do you think of this one?
It is absolutely gorgeous, and again, it's the epitome of correct restoration, leaving things when you can leave it, restoring it when they need to be restored. I love this car. 1968, Bill, a very key year in the history of the Shelby Mustang. Ford changing the design to a degree. You're our expert. Educate me about the car.
Yeah, in 1968, Ford really was building the Shelby Mustangs, like this 1968 GT500 KR, King of the Road. And this is the convertible. This is the one that most collectors want to have. 428 Cobra jet engine, that came along in the spring of '68. This one has the C6 automatic transmission, candy apple red, white top, black interior, 10-spoke wheels. Yeah, this one is a keeper.
I love it. I love the convertible roof, but I'm going to guess it isn't just the convertible cars from that year that really caught the public's attention.
Along with the convertible, they built the fixed roof GT500 KR. That one has the 4-speed in it, but both cars have those beautiful 10-spoke Shelby mag wheels, and the fixed roof car, the coupe, has raised white letters and the correct Goodyear polyglass tires as well. They are two of a kind, and yet some differences between them. And oh, by the way, there are some other Shelby Mustangs in the Apex collection that take us to the end of that generation of the Shelby Mustang that I think people are going to be really excited about seeing.
Well, Bill, every time we visit the Apex collection, we see a staggering array, a bevy, if you like, of Corvettes. This trip, no exception. We see 5 Corvettes here on display, 4 different generations. Now, from our many late nights together around dinner tables, I know that you love Corvettes, all of them. Tell me about them.
Right over there is a 1962 fuel-injected Corvette, 327, 360 horsepower, 4-speed. The 360 horsepower fuel-injected engine got upgraded a little bit in 1964 when it went to 375 horsepower. This one also with a 4-speed transmission in this beautiful metallic blue. Over here, this is a 1967 427 coupe. This has the L68, that's the 427 with 3 2-barrel carburetors making 400 horsepower, and it's factory air conditioned with red on red and a 4-speed. And that's a 2012 ZR1 Centennial Edition. Only 206 of those were built to commemorate Chevrolet's 100th anniversary. 638 horsepower, the most horsepower from any factory-built Corvette at that time. But next to that, how about a 650 horsepower 2019 Z06 convertible?
They all look absolutely beautiful. And once again, Bill, the hallmarks of the Apex collection: collectability, desirability, and condition. They've hit it out the park.
Two very special Pontiac Trans Ams behind us, Stephen, but I want to ask you about this 1977 Bandit Edition. Does that bring back any memories from the old country?
Oh boy, does it ever. When that movie came out over in England when I was a much, much younger man, everybody, all my school friends, wanted the black Bandit edition of the Trans Am. It is an absolute movie icon car. I still get excited to see them today.
Yeah, the Smokey and the Bandit movie was a favorite of mine, maybe as much for Sally Field as for the car, but whatever. This is a real Y82 Special Edition 1977 Pontiac Trans Am. It has the correct 400 cubic inch engine, its numbers matching, rotisserie restoration, and as you can see, it looks like it's hardly been driven a mile. Oh, did I say hardly driven a mile? That brings us to this 1979 Trans Am, the special 10th anniversary edition. Want to take a guess how many miles on this car?
Well, I'm going to have to say I have seen it on the stickers. So it's 16 miles, is that right? Do I have that right?
16 miles, if you can believe that. Yes, this also has the 400 cubic inch engine, and there's a story behind that. This is the last year you could get that motor in a Trans Am. This one, numbers matching, WS6, and by the way, only 366 of these cars were built with a 400 cubic inch V8 and air conditioning.
16 miles on the clock, and the original stickers still in the window. How does that happen?
Yeah, and the interior is still cellophane wrapped. So, two special Trans Ams indeed. Steve, we're always emphasizing the variety in the Apex collection. You didn't think we'd get through this without a late model European exotic, did you? Well, not only that, but it's a Ferrari, and you're a former Ferrari employee. What better person on the Mecum team to describe this car?
Well, Bill, you're absolutely right. A fantastic example of a 2019 488 Pista, which is the track version that Maranello produced of their ultra-successful 488. The V8 engine in the back of this car at the time of its production was the most powerful V8 engine that Maranello had ever produced. Beautiful car, loaded with electronics, will help any driver on the track if it starts to get out of shape a little bit. Fantastic to see it.
Well, look in the background. You'll see some exceptional collectible vehicles coming to the Apex collection in Kissimmee, a Viper, Hennessy Mustang with 1,200 horsepower. We've got a new generation Boss 302, an AMG Mercedes, some Trick Jeeps as well, and all of them part of the Apex collection coming to Kissimmee. And I'll tell you what, if you like any kind of a collectible car, the Apex collection delivers. Well, my skin is tingling. How about you?
Absolutely it is. Awesome stuff.
However, we don't have the time to show you all of the cars that Apex is bringing to Kissimmee in January. There's over 80. However, you can go to mecum.com and you can see them there. Now, there are two other cars we want to tease right now that are also part of the Apex collection. One is an unbelievably rare 427 Cobra, and
well, the other is perhaps an equally rare 1966 factory lightweight GT40.
well, if you can't be with us in person in Kissimmee, January 6th through the 18th, 2026, Osceola Heritage Park, please join us on ESPN Plus. We'll be streaming live. This is almost like being in heaven, isn't it?
It is. It absolutely is.